So firstly, will you start some comments? Okay.
Thank you so much for hosting RISC-V Days Tokyo. I am so excited to be a part of it, and I am very hopeful that I can join you again in the spring. For now, I am so excited for the amazing progress that we see around the world, and in particular, the progress that we're seeing in Japan. So thank you so much to the RISC-V community in Japan for coming together, and thank you for sharing a spot in the agenda for my talk today.
Thank you for the comment from the starting point. So then we will start the video for you presenting this title.
Thank you so much for joining us today on RISC-V Days Tokyo 2021 Autumn Edition. First, I want to introduce myself. I'm Calista Redmond, CEO of RISC-V International, and it is my honor to join you at this important conference in Japan. Thank you. Thank you to the incredible sponsors who have gone deep into RISC-V, who have shown their support year after year. Some just coming out of stealth this year, others have been longtime supporters of RISC-V. We are truly together collaborating at a global level, and I'm so impressed with the progress that we've seen in Japan, and I'm excited to share some of the progress that we're making around the world and across industries, and the opportunity that is before us here with you today. So thank you. Let's just take a moment and show some appreciation for the power that open source and collaboration has around the world. You know, the roots of that collaboration, of finding open standards, of discovering ways to work together, really dates back about 100 years. Well, it probably goes back further than that. When you think of the dynamics in a village where everyone has a different role and a different expertise that they bring to the success of that village growing into a town, into a city, into a nation, into a country. Open source and collaboration dates back to the standards that were first developed in the United Kingdom over 100 years ago. Open source software is several decades old now, and the 30th anniversary this year of Linux has shown us that in technology, in software, that can also be true. We are bringing all of this together in open hardware. We bring the collaboration and the spirit of contribution from the open source software world together with the ratification and assuredness of lifetime standards from the standards world. Bringing these two things together with a base called RISC-V is where we are at this point in history. And it is an incredible journey and an incredible revolution that is well underway. RISC-V is the free and open instruction set architecture. It has been contributed and it is open for collaboration. It enables design freedom and flexibility, and companies around the world, big and small, are pinning their strategic future to RISC-V. There are two main reasons. The first is around disruptive technology. At a very base level, RISC-V is far less complex. It comes with only 47 base instructions in the modular ISA. That is a modular design, not a cumulative or incremental ISA, as you find with legacy ISAs where you are constrained and confined and burdened with nearly 1,500 instructions in the base ISA alone. There may or may not be the pieces of the puzzle that you need for your design. RISC-V enables you to add on to, modify, and shape the instruction set with the extensions that are necessary for your design. That modularity enables you that design flexibility, coupled with a business model where the base and all of the extensions that we provide as RISC-V International and as a global community are free. You don't have the burden of royalty. You don't have years of negotiation to get to an agreement with boundaries. There are no boundaries, and it is growing rapidly. And we see that through the design ecosystem of IP. We see that in the software ecosystem as well. Now, where does that put us in the business side? There's technology, but that always comes with the business side. RISC-V as an open and collaborative open source model brings about the opportunity for expanded collaboration partners. Collaborate with anyone around the world for the design that is absolutely perfect to meet your implementation need. Development partners, collaboration partners, supply chain partners. These are all the things that come into your product. Then, on the other side, think about all the places you can take your product. Expanded geographies, expanded industries, a slight modification on design, and you are going into an adjacent space or market. That is the design freedom from the technical perspective, as well as reduced barriers to entry for the business side of that dimension. So we've removed all of these barriers. We've truly leveled the playing field when it comes to the profound opportunities. Now, what are those opportunities, and why are so many people getting on board? The opportunities are absolutely perfect right now. We're seeing skyrocketing semiconductor opportunities, and we're seeing increased need for customization. That's a sweet spot for RISC-V. Strategy Analytics has placed the connected and IoT devices market at 50 billion devices by 2030. Most of these have more than one chip involved. So think about where we are on this today. We're at 2021. We're a little more than halfway through this chart, and this opportunity is continuing to skyrocket. In fact, Gartner says that by 2025, 40% of ASICs will be integrated circuits by OEMs will be designed by those OEMs. That number today is 30%. So think about that. This opportunity alone is growing by more than a third. So those custom ASICs are looking for a new model, are looking to be unshackled from the constraints of the prior models. And RISC-V is in that sweet spot and is being considered and deployed in multiple of those opportunities. So where is the RISC-V opportunity in this burgeoning market? Nearly 80 billion RISC-V CPU cores by 2025. This number was updated just last spring. Prior to that, this number was 62 billion. Now, I'm going to tell you here today, this number is too small. 80 billion simply does not capture the incredible opportunity that we already see, that we already know about across multiple workloads, from embedded to enterprise, from toothbrushes to HPC. There are microprocessors going into so many new fields. And as you can see, that growth and opportunity of where those workloads are and where the RISC-V opportunity is are matching and keeping a similar stride. But why? So Counterpoint Research says, the overall semiconductor IP market is going to go from $5.2 billion to $8.6 billion. RISC-V is a huge part of that. In fact, nearly 30% of IoT will be RISC-V based. Next in line, industrial at 12%, and automotive, 10% will be on RISC-V. That's a huge leap forward from where we are today, coupled with the increasing overall opportunity. They cite some of the foremost popular reasons for RISC-V. Number one, open source ISA. Do with it what works for your workload. Number two, less vulnerable to the geopolitical constraints that seem to keep kind of increasing risk profile of engaging in particular relationships. And number three, better power consumption and performance. That power consumption and performance is because you can customize and use only those instructions that are important to your workload. Then finally, number four, reliability and security. RISC-V is fully transparent. From there, We have incredible security processes underway, from cryptography and quantum cryptography. It's not just that part of the market, but the growth in RISC-V IP is absolutely growing. We see that at 54.1%, but we're also seeing continued growth in software and tools to support that ecosystem. We are an entire village. We have lots of expertise around the community, and it's so essential that we recognize and appreciate that opportunity that brings to every one of our stakeholders. So today, RISC-V is already in 23%, that's nearly a quarter of ASIC and FPGA projects already include RISC-V. Nearly a quarter are already there. This means something really important. This means we are past the inflection point. We are past the point that says, is this real? Is this an experiment, or is this really the foundation of the computing era that we're in? And I will contend that we have fully crossed that inflection point, and RISC-V has cemented its position as the foundation for the open era of computing. Let's see, where else do we see evidence of this? I'm going to walk you through a few of the key industries that span the entire spectrum of computing to showcase what we're seeing already today. Intel, Neo's processor based on RISC-V leveraged for performance. Alibaba, Huaxi processor line for or open source SoCs, and these are leveraged for cloud and edge servers. Imagination has an entire RISC-V CPU family, and Seagate in storage has hard disk drive controllers with high performance RISC-V CPU, and they are continuing to invest in RISC-V. In telecom and communications around 5G, absolutely essential that we have innovative processor designs. Andes has a 64-bit RISC-V processor adopted by SK Telecom, and that's in the development of AI products. Alibaba's PLCT Lab ported Android 10 in-house on their 64-bit RISC-V core emulated Qmin. Google, Pixel 6 Titan M2 in-house design, more resilient to advanced attacks. RISC-V is being selected because of its design flexibility, technical capabilities, and security. These are essential in the workloads that we see today and moving forward with growth in the future. High-performance computing. Europe has taken a profound lead in this area. The European Processor Initiative had their accelerator first chip tape out in September 2021. That just happened. Technical University of Munich, a picture here of Joanna Baer of TUM. They are testing and deploying RISC-V cryptography chips for quantum computing security demands. This is the future, and the future is happening now. Tactical Computing Labs, HPC-centric software testing suite for GCC and LLVM, two of the areas that we support most. Quartus developing high-performance RISC-V out-of-order processor core for the European Processor Project. And DRISC. This is a hardware-software platform for multi-core RISC-V system-on-a-chip. This is critical in aerospace applications. In edge computing, we have a distributed open architecture that decentralizes that processing power, reducing latency and supporting IoT performance. See Studio's new development, Scythia Max RISC-V 64-bit AI board for edge computing. This brings embedded AI to any IoT device. Micromagic, incredibly fast 64-bit RISC-V core, achieving 5 gigahertz and 13,000 core marks. That's incredible. Absolutely performant for edge computing. Western Digital, the Swerve core, enabling a spectrum of compute at the edge, and more. Western Digital has been a long-time and deep supporter of RISC-V, a true leader beyond storage into data processing. In AI and machine learning, artificial intelligence is spanning now every type of computing. We see Esperanto emerging from stealth with a 1,000-core RISC-V AI accelerator. StarV, the world's first RISC-V AI visual processing platform. And Andes, a huge supporter in automotive and other areas in Japan, has released the superscalar multi-core and level 2 cache controller processors. NVIDIA CUDA support on the Vortex RISC-V GPU. This enables scaling from 1-core to 32-core GPUs based with graphics support. In consumer and IoT devices, what a huge opportunity as we see consumer devices continuing to skyrocket. Huawei's RISC-V board for Harmony OS developers is great for the IoT market. Zepp Health, also known as Huami, a wearable manufacturer, has been supporting RISC-V for generations now, and they have offered support for the reference models for RISC-V P extension. Greenways, massive supporter of RISC-V with ultra-low power GAP9 hearables platform, scene-aware, neural network-based noise reduction. These earbuds are coming out in the millions each month. Microchip, the first SoC FPGA development kit. Rios Lab, great collaboration between Tsinghua University and Berkeley, announced Pico Rio, affordable RISC-V open source small board computer. And SiFi, the world's fastest development board for RISC-V personal computers and deep relationships and partnerships specifically in Japan. Automotive. I almost feel like I'm saving the best for last. Automotive is where we're seeing the renaissance of innovation, from onboard computing to IoT and embedded, but in particular and especially around safety critical. Imagine Technologies is one who's been involved here in meeting those ISO standards with absolute certainty in their GPU. IAR Systems extended the functional safety version of its embedded workbench software toolchain for the RISC-V core of NSI TechSeed. Renaissance and SiFi jointly developing next-gen RISC-V SoCs for automotive, and we'll get into that in a minute. Renaissance and NSI TechSeed announcing automotive SoC with RISC-V-based parallel coprocessor. And in Europe, the GA Next project simplifies designing power converters with GA Next power semiconductors, improving the efficiency and compactfulness of systems for electric vehicle chargers. These are all fundamentally important, and as you can see, represent a variety of stakeholders around automotive. So let's talk a little bit more about what's going on in Japan. Renaissance RISC-V ASSP products are using CPU cores from Andes, a great collaboration example. In fact, their executive VP and GM, Salish Chirapetti, has noted that the Andes RISC-V core IP enables Renaissance to provide innovative solutions for future application-specific standard products. These are equipped with Renaissance firmware and are dedicated devices which users can set the parameters on application programs. They have a planned user interface to make it easier for users to optimize solutions to their specific use case. Differentiation, optimization, and ability to innovate right down to the user's hands. Renaissance has also partnered with SiFi, jointly developing next-gen automotive RISC-V solutions. The RISC-V core and AI accelerators provide Renaissance performance and scalability for in-vehicle applications. SiFi's RISC-V cores are offering trace and debugging capabilities compatible with prevailing industry tools. You don't need to change your industry tools to work with this. These are silicon-proven RISC-V cores, teaming together with Renaissance to meet the needs and the demands of the next generation of automotive technology. Architect. AI processing with Architect together with Sci-Fi's E3 series RISC-V processor IP has created an incredible capability around accelerated workloads, efficiency in code with reduced power. These are the new dimensions to meet the workload demands within the envelope of power, of price, and of dimension that are required of these. This brings together the best of the CPU and the GPU and a dedicated LSI. And a Cytexi AI accelerator, absolutely executing neural networks, power efficiency of 12 using 7 nanometer geometry. This divides input data, concatenates the input and output of multiple layer processing to process the intermediate data. Reducing the data transfers with the external memory improves power performance. Using technology smarter creates faster, more power efficient implementations. And a Cytexi also RISC-V vector processor, licensing from Renaissance, the DR1000C. This vector accelerator for arithmetic processing meets automotive safety critical requirements, absolutely essential to moving our industry forward. Ubiquitous AI corporations, they are bringing to market a RISC-V network framework. This is creating a RISC-V middleware for implementing communications functions based on the TCP/IP stack. Very important in the network paradigm. Let's just think about this for a minute. We have a global community filled with multiple different stakeholders who each have a very specific interest and a very important role to play in our shared and collaborative success. So we come together under the umbrella of RISC-V International to progress the state of the art, to progress the industry, to shape and change the open era of computing. This is our moment. This is our moment to seize the opportunity to build services, to build IP, to reinvent our university engagement, to change and shape industries from mobile to HPC to machine learning and automotive to wearables and IoT and edge and things that didn't even exist 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We are bringing together developers from around the world, analysts and press who are studying carefully where this industry is going, and they are all pointing to RISC-V. We are bringing together investors, entrepreneurs, multinationals, and new relationships never before imagined. In fact, we are on a growth trajectory of skyrocketing. This chart looks a little bit like all those other growth trajectories. We are now more than 2,400 RISC-V members around the world in 70 different countries across a variety of ecosystem pieces. In 2020, we more than doubled. We grew 133%. We more than doubled again in 2021 in the first 6 months of the year. That is a testament to the strength of collaboration, to the conviction that we are changing the industry. We are truly the foundation of the open era of computing. We have more than 4,000 individuals across more than 60 different work groups and committees. We have brought together more than 330 RISC-V solutions online in our RISC-V exchange. We are supporting about 30 different local community groups that have brought together 5,400 engineers. We have more than 40,000 followers on social media, and we've been in about 135 news articles just up till now, since the beginning of the year. And we are continuing to see that amplification of the success of our members. In fact, your success is what I get up to go do every single day. Every day, my role and the role of RISC-V International is to support the success of our members. We do this through 6 different programs. We do this through development and the profound shepherding and importance of ratification of numerous technical deliverables. We have about 16 in the hopper right now that are going to ratification, have crossed the first threshold of that, and are going to the board for approval. We have compatibility and verification. Compatibility to base profiles and platforms to ensure that when you bring a solution to market, you are not reinventing the wheel. You are consistent with the base specifications as well as the key profiles and platforms of the organization. We amplify success, not only our own success, but member news, member content. We develop and cultivate content with our members to build into new industries, to build into new and growing geographies. That visibility is not about us, it's about you. It's about sharing your story and your success so that the rest of the industry sees it and says, I need to get on board. We're helping you to find more customers, to find more collaboration partners, and wherever possible to find one another. Learning and talent. This is so important. We are seeding the industry with key talent through our university relationships, through training partners, and through online learning. We've had thousands and thousands of engineers come through our online learning programs just this year that we launched in March. And in advocacy and alliances. We are building alliances from Japan to the United States, from Europe to India. We have advocates around the world, dozens of ambassadors that we have, as well as those community groups and alliances with several dozen different organizations. We cannot do this alone as RISC-V. We collaborate with our peers across and around the ecosystem. And this holds true for our marketplace exchange too. It is so important to us to showcase all of the great offerings that RISC-V has enabled. We are on a tear. Our technical roadmap, as you can see, gets pretty heavy about halfway through this chart. We've come a long way from our beginning. On the bottom, you see what we are working on as those key technical deliverables, and we want you engaged with us to help support and drive the strategy for the entire industry. Above, you see the industry adoption, where we have special interest groups dedicated to Android, communications, graphics, security, automotive, and more, HPC, and with Global Platform and others to make sure that we are in stride, in step with our peers across the industry. So those are the important areas that we're embarking on. I mentioned the compatibility piece. So here you see we have RISC-V compatible that we are rolling out now for RISC-V compatible to a platform, a reusable runtime environment that operating systems and applications can target to improve portability and reuse, and to profiles. That refers to a base ISA and one or more extensions specified as a group so that applications can be compiled once and run on different implementations with the same results. We are so proud to roll out programs to support our community, such as RISC-V developer boards, helping to seed distros and adopters with RISC-V development boards from our membership. RISC-V development partners, groups that are taking on clear, strategic, tactical, technical missions and executing on those deliverables together with us. And RISC-V Labs, a new one rolling out now, that is all about creating hardware environments for CI/CD testing and also for general availability for sandbox efforts. Our ecosystem, as I mentioned, is profound. We have alliances with different organizations around the tools and resources necessary to build around key software stacks, including Linux. Happy birthday, happy 30th birthday, Linux, just this year. And with other organizations that support implementations, like CHIPS Alliance. So I invite you to engage with us. Engage with us because it will accelerate your technical traction, because you can contribute your technical priorities and your strategic approach where it matters to your business so that you're aligned before products come to market and before ratification of extensions. Engage with us to increase your visibility, to find and build your network of engineering skills and collaboration partners. Join with us to build your innovation partner network and your customer pipeline. Engage with RISC-V to deepen, engage, and lead in a local and industry manner. And we'd love to help showcase your success and your products. We've got several different membership options. If you haven't visited us online, please do. Please consider joining us. I promise you'll reap far more than you pay in membership benefit. So let me close with you on a few thoughts. The future is here. The future is all underpinned by open source. We've seen this already in open source software. The world runs the most important, most critical systems run on Linux. In the future, you're going to say the most important critical technology is built on RISC-V. We see this happening already. We see this, we are past that inflection point. We have been building our ecosystem for years. We have hit our stride. And we are not just running, we are a rocket. And I invite you to get on board, to join us in this profound journey. We are RISC-V. We are from end to end. We are from embedded to enterprise, from HPC to toaster ovens, everything in between. Anywhere you can find a microprocessor, you have an opportunity. And for that green field, where microprocessors are just starting to gain favor, there is no entrenched ISA. This is the opportunity for you and for RISC-V. I invite you to join us, to connect with me, to connect with your peers, and to connect with one another. Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing RISC-V to Japan for Tokyo's Days. This is a great opportunity for us. I personally cannot wait until the moment I can join you in Tokyo once again. I am so grateful to the organizers of this conference, and I applaud the great traction and progress that we've made together, especially around automotive and other areas that are critical for Japan. So thank you for engaging in RISC-V. Please don't ever hesitate to reach out to me in any way you like. Thank you so much.
Hi again, Calista. Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, okay. So
There's
thank
a
you
small delay,
for
but I think you're
good presentation video. So it's very impressive. So from audience, one question came. So question from the Esperant, Mr. Kasahara. So the question is, I heard that you are promoting RISC-V education program. Can you explain them?
So RISC-V education, also known as RISC-V Learn, has three parts.
Yeah.
So we have the first part are professional training partners. So training partners who can come out and work with entire teams in corporations. And we have about a dozen training partners today. The second part is we have university relationships. So we have cultivated dozens and dozens, maybe around 60 different RISC-V labs, lectures, and other resources for professors to use in teaching RISC-V or moving courses from other architectures onto RISC-V at university levels. And then third, we have online learning. And online learning includes online courses. We have online courses that RISC-V has put together, and we have other courses that we are also helping to promote for online learning. These are incredibly helpful to students as well as engineers who are already working in their discipline to increase their skills on RISC-V. To date, we have nearly 9,000 enrollments on 2 RISC-V online courses that we started in the first quarter. So it's incredibly popular. And coming in the future, we are now putting together RISC-V certification programs. So you can get certified on RISC-V to help showcase your skills and your eligibility for career progress.
Please put on the mic. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for the answer to the question from audience. So I think it's a great program of RISC-V education already prepared and ongoing. I think it's very useful for the engineers, also some people or students who want to learn the RISC-V or something. Yeah. And
one thing I should add, we are now open and taking mentorships, also known as internships, from the industry to help promote for student internships. We have those programs also available.
Thank you for adding the good information. So, mentor program, yeah, so some engineers, some maybe a student who become a good expert of RISC-V, they can become some mentor also, was a kind of teacher. Yeah. Thank you. And so I have another question to you. Well, some information request. So there is recently your RISC-V International or around the group had a hot event or activity, latest one or the near future. So will you inform some best or better activity which you want to inform around the audience to describe in Tokyo?
For Tokyo specifically, or in the world?
Oh, in the world, please. Yeah. So because recently, so very worldwide online can be done also. Yeah. Any chance?
Yeah. So we will have our annual RISC-V Summit. The December event is the second week in December, called RISC-V Summit. And it will be a live as well as online event. And you can register now already for RISC-V Summit. And it will be broadcast live. Everything will be recorded. And you can come and join us if that's a possibility for you. The event will be held in San Francisco. And then in the spring, our big event will be participating in Embedded World. I guess it's late winter. So Embedded World in Nuremberg, Germany. And then from there, we hope to do more RISC-V Tokyo Days, as well as the other events in Europe as well as China.
Yeah. thank you so much so for answer to my question, and also maybe people want to such information around here. So then already it's coming to the near end of the session time. So thank you so much for the attending the session. So I think we will come to the next. So is it okay for you?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.